The Omega He Chose. A werewolf romance story. Opening, Luna's introduction. Hello, my beautiful dreamers. This is Luna, and welcome back to Luna's Romance Audiobooks, where fate is never wrong and true love always finds a way. Tonight's story is special, a tale of forbidden desire, social barriers, and a king who defies every expectation to claim the one woman he's not supposed to want. Picture this. A grand ball filled with the realm's most elegant princesses, all competing for the Alpha King's hand in marriage. But his eyes, and his wolf, have only ever wanted one woman. His Omega maid, the one person in the entire kingdom he's forbidden to choose. So, get comfortable, my dreamers. Dim those lights, and let me tell you about the night everything changed. This is the Omega he chose. Prologue. The scent of home. I shouldn't have been in the ballroom. My place was in the servants' quarters, in the kitchens, in the shadows where Omegas belonged. Not here, surrounded by glittering chandeliers and princesses who smelled of expensive perfumes and entitled ambition. But head housekeeper Marta had sent me to deliver a message, and now I was frozen in the doorway, watching him. Alpha King Cassian Blackthorn stood at the center of the grand hall, devastatingly beautiful in his formal black coat, silver embroidery catching the light. 32 years old and unwed, which apparently threatened the stability of the entire realm. Hence this spectacle, a ball where every eligible princess from every neighboring kingdom had come to compete for his hand. I watched Princess Dominique of the Eastern Territories laugh at something he said, her hand possessive on his arm. Watched Princess Seraphina of the Southern Isles flutter her eyelashes. Watched a dozen other high-born ladies circle him like wolves around prey. The irony wasn't lost on me. Then his head turned, as if he'd sensed something. Our eyes met across the crowded ballroom. Even from this distance I saw his pupils dilate. Saw the flash of gold that meant his wolf had surfaced. Saw the way his entire body went rigid, every muscle locked on me. I knew that look. Had seen it 100 times over the past year I'd worked in his palace. Hunger, longing, frustration. The same things I felt every time I caught his scent. Cedar and smoke and winter mountains. The most intoxicating thing I'd ever experienced. But it didn't matter what we felt. He was an Alpha King. I was an Omega maid. And in our world, that might as well be different species. I turned and fled before anyone noticed where his attention had gone. I didn't know that in 3 hours everything would change. That the ball meant to find him a suitable princess would end with him claiming the most unsuitable woman in the entire kingdom. Me. Chapter 1. The Invisible Omega. Honestly, Isla, you look like you've seen a ghost. My friend Clara, another Omega maid, cornered me in the servants' hall. What happened? Nothing. I busied myself folding the linens I'd been sent to retrieve. Just the ballroom is overwhelming. All those pompous princesses? Clara snorted. I don't envy His Majesty tonight. They'll be throwing themselves at him like starving wolves at a deer. The image made my stomach turn, though I had no right to feel jealous. He has to choose someone, I said quietly, forcing the words out. The council's been pressuring him for years. An unmated Alpha King is considered unstable. Ridiculous if you ask me. King Cassian is the strongest ruler we've had in generations. Clara leaned closer, lowering her voice. Though between you and me, I think there's a reason he hasn't chosen anyone. My hand stilled. What do you mean? Come on, Isla. Everyone's noticed the way he looks at you. Clara, I'm serious. Last week when you were cleaning the library and he came in, I swear he stood there for 10 minutes just watching you work. And don't even get me started on what happened at the summer festival. I flushed, remembering. The festival where I'd accidentally brushed against him in the crowd, where his hand had caught mine for just a moment, where the mate bond had snapped into place so powerfully I'd nearly collapsed. I'd run. He'd let me go. Because we both knew it was impossible. It doesn't matter, I said firmly. He's a king. I'm a maid. End of story. But if you're mates... There's no proof of that. Lie. Complete lie. We both felt it, but neither of us had acknowledged it aloud. And even if we were, The council would never accept an Omega Luna Queen. You know that. Clara's expression softened with sympathy. It's not fair. Fairness has nothing to do with hierarchy. A bell chimed, the signal that the first dance was beginning. Back to work, I said, grateful for the interruption. Those champagne flutes won't polish themselves. But as I walked toward the kitchens, I couldn't shake the memory of his eyes finding mine across the ballroom, the way his wolf had recognized mine, the way everything in me had screamed mate, mine, ours. I was so lost in thought that I didn't notice the figure stepping out of the shadows until I walked directly into a broad chest. Strong hands steadied me, and that scent, cedar and smoke and everything I craved, surrounded me completely. Your Majesty, I jerked back, nearly dropping my basket of linens. I'm so sorry. I wasn't watching where... Isla. Just my name, spoken in that deep voice that sent shivers down my spine. We need to talk. You should be at the ball. The princesses can wait. His jaw was tight, golden eyes blazing in the dim hallway. Please, 5 minutes. Every instinct I had screamed danger. Not because he'd hurt me. I knew in my bones he'd never harm me. But because 5 minutes alone with him might shatter the careful control I'd been maintaining for months. Your Majesty, it's not appropriate. I'm aware. His hand still rested on my arm, thumb tracing small circles that made my Omega Wolf whine with pleasure. When has anything between us been appropriate? Exactly, which is why... You're my mate, Isla. The world stopped. I stared at him, my heart thundering so loud I was sure he could hear it. You can't say that? Why not? It's true. He stepped closer, and I was drowning in his scent, in his proximity, in the raw need radiating off him. I've known since the moment you arrived at the palace. One look, one breath of your scent, and my wolf claimed you entirely. Cassian. His name slipped out before I could stop it. Too familiar, too intimate. His eyes flashed molten gold at the sound. Say it again. I can't. You're the king. I'm... Mine. The alpha command in his voice made my knees weak. You're mine, Isla. And I'm done pretending otherwise. The council will never... I don't care what the council wants. The princesses are not you. His hand cupped my face, and I couldn't help but lean into his touch. Do you think I care about political alliances when my mate is scrubbing floors and hiding in servants' quarters? Do you think I can breathe properly when you're near, but I can't claim you? This is impossible, I whispered, even as my treacherous body swayed toward him. Nothing's impossible if I make it law. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. Come to the ball, Isla. Not as a servant, as my guest. I can't, please. The rawness in his voice undid me. Let me see you there, just once. Let me have one dance with my mate before I'm forced to choose someone else. It was foolish, reckless, would cause a scandal that could topple kingdoms. But looking into his eyes, feeling the mate bond thrumming between us like a living thing, I found myself nodding. One dance, I breathed. His smile was devastating. One dance. Then he was gone, disappearing back toward the ballroom, leaving me trembling in the hallway. What had I just agreed to? Chapter 2. Transformation. You've lost your mind, Clara declared, hands on her hips, as she surveyed the disaster that was my preparation. Absolutely lost it. I know. I stared at my reflection in the small mirror. My work dress was clean but plain, my hair a simple braid, my hands roughened from years of labor. I look ridiculous. You look beautiful, but that's not the point. Clara grabbed my shoulders. Isla, if you walk into that ballroom, everyone will know. The princesses, the council, the visiting dignitaries. They'll all see the way the king looks at you. I know. You could lose your position, your housing, everything. I know, I repeated quieter. Then why are you doing this? I met her eyes in the mirror, Because he asked. Because my wolf is screaming at me to go to him. Because I took a shaky breath. Because I'm tired of hiding what I feel. Clara's expression softened. After a moment, she squeezed my shoulders. Then we need to make you look like the future Luna Queen you're meant to be. Clara, hush. I have an idea. 20 minutes later, I barely recognized myself. Clara had worked magic with what little we had. She'd let down my hair, the dark waves falling past my shoulders. Found a dress that one of the higher-ranking servants had left behind. Simple but elegant, deep blue that brought out my eyes. Used a bit of rouge on my cheeks and lips. I wouldn't be mistaken for a princess. But I looked worthy. Almost. You're stunning, Clara breathed. I'm terrified. Good. That means you're alive. She hugged me tight. Go get your king, Omega girl. The walk to the ballroom felt like walking to my execution. I could hear the music, the laughter, the swirl of conversation. Could smell the mingled scents of dozens of wolves. Alphas, betas, omegas, all the visiting nobility. The guards at the door looked at me questioningly. I didn't have an invitation. Didn't have the right to be here. His Majesty requested my presence, I said, lifting my chin despite my shaking hands. They exchanged glances. Then, miracle of miracles, stepped aside. The ballroom was even more magnificent from inside, all crystal and candlelight, sweeping architecture and elegant wolves in formal attire. I felt like an imposter immediately. Then I caught his scent, and nothing else mattered. Cassian stood near the center of the room, Princess Seraphina hanging on his arm as she chatted with a group of nobles. But his head snapped up the moment I entered, his gaze finding mine with unerring accuracy. The look in his eyes stole my breath. Heat, possession, pride. He said something to the princess, gently but firmly removing her hand from his arm. Started walking toward me, the crowd parting before him automatically. Every eye in the room turned to see what had captured their king's attention. What they saw was an Omega maid in a borrowed dress. The whispers started immediately. Who is that? Is that one of the servants? Why is she here? Look at the way he's looking at her. Cassian reached me, and the rest of the room ceased to exist. You came, he said softly, reverently, like I'd given him an incredible gift. You asked. His hand extended. May I have this dance? I stared at his offered hand, my heart pounding. This was it. The moment of no return. Behind him, I could see the princesses watching with varying degrees of shock and outrage. Could see the council members frowning. Could feel the weight of every judgmental stare. But I could also feel the mate bond singing between us. My Omega wolf desperate to touch her alpha. I placed my hand in his. His fingers closed around mine, warm and strong, and electricity shot up my arm. I've got you, he murmured, leading me to the dance floor. The music shifted to a waltz as we took our positions, his hand at my waist, mine on his shoulder, our other hands clasped between us. And then we were moving, spinning across the polished floor, and everything else faded away. I've dreamed of this, he confessed, his voice low enough that only I could hear. Dancing with you, holding you, being able to touch you without having to make excuses. Cassian, this is madness. The entire court is watching. Let them watch. His hand tightened on my waist, pulling me infinitesimally closer. I'm done hiding what you mean to me. The council will be furious. The council serves me, not the other way around. The princesses are not my mate. His eyes bored into mine, golden and intense. You are, Isla. Only you. My wolf claimed you the moment he saw you, and nothing, not politics, not tradition, not hierarchy, will change that. It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. We spun, and his scent wrapped around me like a claim. I love you, Isla. I've loved you since you spilled tea on my favorite book and apologized so profusely, I thought you might pass out. I've loved you since I watched you rescue a wounded bird from the gardens and nurse it back to health. I've loved you through every moment I've had to pretend I didn't know you were my fated mate. Tears pricked my eyes. Cassian. Say you feel it too, please. Even if nothing can come of it, I need to hear it. Just once. The raw vulnerability in his voice shattered my defenses. I love you, I whispered. I've loved you so long, I can't remember when it started. I love your strength and your kindness. I love the way you remember every servant's name. I love how you sneak into the kitchens at midnight for cookies. He kissed me. Right there, in the middle of the ballroom, in front of every princess and noble and council member. Kissed me like I was precious, like I was his, like nothing else in the world mattered. The ballroom erupted in chaos, but I didn't care, because for one perfect moment I was exactly where I belonged, in my mate's arms. Chapter 3. The Choice. The kiss lasted forever and no time at all. When Cassian finally pulled back, the ballroom had descended into pandemonium. Princesses shouting in outrage, council members arguing, guards looking uncertain whether to intervene. Your Majesty, Lord Chancellor Aldrich pushed through the crowd, his face purple with fury. What is the meaning of this? Cassian kept his arm around my waist, keeping me close. I would think it's obvious, Lord Chancellor. You kissed a servant, Princess Dominique shrieked, at a ball held specifically to find your queen. I found her. His voice carried alpha command that silenced the room. I found my queen the day she arrived at this palace. Everything else has been a formality. I should have ended months ago. She's an Omega, another council member sputtered. You can't make an Omega the Luna Queen. I can make anyone I choose my Luna Queen. I'm the king. The council will never approve. Then I'll dissolve the council. The threat hung in the air, sharp and real. Cassian's eyes swept the room, stopping on each protesting face. I've played your games for years, attended your balls, entertained your political matches, pretended to consider princesses I had no interest in. I'm done. Lord Aldrich stepped forward, voice dripping with condescension. Your Majesty, think rationally. This Omega is not fit to... Careful. The alpha command in Cassian's voice made everyone take an involuntary step back. You're about to insult my mate, my fated mate, chosen by the moon goddess herself. Are you really foolish enough to question her judgment? That gave them pause. Fated mates were sacred, even among the political machinations of the court. Prove it, Princess Seraphina demanded, her beautiful face twisted with jealousy. Prove she's your fated mate, and not just some Omega you've been amusing yourself with. Rage flickered across Cassian's features, but I placed a hand on his chest, feeling his rapid heartbeat beneath my palm. It's okay, I murmured. They have a right to question. They have no right. Your Majesty, I turned to face the assembled crowd, trying to ignore how my knees shook. I am an Omega. I am a maid. By all traditional standards, I am entirely unsuitable to be your Luna Queen. I took a breath. But I am also his fated mate. I've felt the bond since the moment we met. I've tried to ignore it, tried to stay in my place, tried to do what was expected of me. Then why didn't you speak up before? Lord Aldrich demanded. Because I was terrified. The admission hung in the air. Because I knew what claiming a king would mean. The scrutiny, the hatred, the constant whispers that I'm not good enough, not worthy, not suitable. I lifted my chin. But tonight my mate asked me to dance, and I'm done hiding. Pretty speech, Princess Dominique sneered, but words don't prove a mate bond. No, Cassian agreed. This does. He tilted his head, exposing his neck. The ultimate sign of trust from an alpha to his mate. Mark me, he said softly, his eyes on mine. Right here, right now. Prove to everyone that you're mine, and I'm yours. The room gasped. Marking was sacred, permanent. It would bond us irrevocably, broadcast to every wolf in the realm that we were mated. Cassian, you don't have to. I want to. I should have done this months ago. His hand cupped my face. Mark me, Isla. Claim me as yours. Let everyone see that the moon goddess chose you for me. My omega wolf surged forward, desperate, needy. The instinct to mark, to claim, to complete the bond was overwhelming. But I hesitated. If I do this, there's no going back. They'll hate me. They'll make your life difficult. They'll adjust or they'll leave. His thumb brushed my lower lip. You are my choice, Isla. Not because of politics or alliances or bloodlines, because you're you. Because you're kind to wounded birds, and you make terrible jokes when you're nervous and you blush every time I catch you staring at me. I don't stare. You absolutely stare. His smile was soft, and I love it. I love you. So please, my omega, my mate, my future queen, mark me. The bond between us pulsed, golden and perfect. I rose on my tiptoes, my lips brushing his jaw, trailing to the spot where his neck met his shoulder. I love you, I whispered against his skin. Then I bit down. The marking was instinctive, my canines extending, piercing his skin, leaving my claim visible for all to see. Power rushed through me, the bond snapping into place completely, our souls intertwining until I couldn't tell where he ended and I began. Cassian's groan was pure satisfaction, his arms tightening around me. When I pulled back, my mark gleamed on his neck, silver and permanent. His, mine, ours. The ballroom had gone completely silent. Then, slowly, one guard dropped to his knee. Then another. Then Clara, watching from the servants' entrance, her face wet with happy tears. One by one, wolves throughout the room knelt, some willingly, some reluctantly, but they knelt. All except the council members and the scorned princesses. This is an outrage, Lord Aldrich declared. The council will not recognize. Then the council is dismissed. Cassian's voice was absolute authority. Permanently. I'll form a new one. With members who understand that I'm the Alpha King, and my word is law. You can't, I can. I just did. His eyes swept the room. Anyone who has a problem with my choice of mate is welcome to leave. You'll be compensated for your travel, and sent home with all appropriate honors. But you will not remain in my court to undermine my Luna Queen. Princess Dominique drew herself up. This is a disgrace. My father will hear of... Your father will be informed that I've found my fated mate, and the alliance discussions are concluded. Cassian's tone left no room for argument. Safe travels, princess. One by one, the princesses swept from the room in various states of outrage. The council members followed, muttering among themselves, until finally only those who'd knelt remained. Guards, servants, a handful of open-minded nobles. Well, Cassian said, turning to me with a devastating smile. That went better than expected. I stared at him. You just dissolved the council, sent away every princess, effectively upended the entire political structure of your kingdom. I did. For me. For us. He kissed me softly. I meant what I said, Isla. You're my choice. My only choice. Everything else is just details. The council will try to fight this. Let them try. His confidence was unshakable. I'm the Alpha King. My word is law. And my word says you're my Luna Queen. A throat cleared. Clara approached, curtsying awkwardly. Your Majesties. Congratulations. The title, Your Majesties, plural, made reality crash over me. I was going to be queen. Me, an Omega maid who'd been scrubbing floors this morning. The panic must have shown on my face because Cassian's hand found mine, steadying me. One step at a time, he murmured. We'll face everything together. I looked up at my mate, my king, and felt the bond between us strong and sure. Together, I agreed. But I didn't know that the real challenges were just beginning, that there were forces in play beyond scorned princesses and angry councils, that claiming a throne was easy compared to keeping it. Chapter 4. The Omega Luna. The next morning I woke up in the Queen's chambers. Not my servants' quarters. Not a dream. The actual Queen's chambers, with silk sheets and a view of the gardens, and Cassian's arm draped possessively around my waist. "You're thinking too loud," he murmured sleepily, pulling me closer. "I can feel your anxiety through the bond. I'm about to have breakfast with your new council, as Luna Queen, when yesterday I was polishing silver. And you'll be magnificent." He kissed my shoulder, right over where I'd marked him last night. His own mark on my neck tingled in response. We'd completed the bonding after the ball, in private, and the memory still made me blush. They'll love you. They'll tolerate me because you're forcing them to. Some will. His honesty was brutal, but appreciated. Others will genuinely support us. The key is figuring out which is which. A knock at the door interrupted us. "Your Majesties," a nervous voice called. "Lord Regent Thaddeus has arrived for the emergency council meeting." Cassian's jaw tightened. I suppose we can't hide in bed all day. As Luna Queen, I'm fairly certain I'm supposed to discourage that behavior. His laugh was warm against my skin. As Luna Queen, you're supposed to support your king in all things, including strategic bed-based decision-making. That's not how queenly duty works. He silenced me with a kiss that made my toes curl. When he finally pulled back, we were both breathless. "Ready to face the wolves?" he asked. I thought about all the judgmental stares, the whispered insults, the challenges ahead. Then I felt our bond, golden and unbreakable. With you, always. The council chamber was full of unfamiliar faces. Cassian had moved quickly to replace the old council with wolves he trusted. But I could still feel the tension, the uncertainty about having an Omega as their Luna Queen. "Lord Regent Thaddeus," Cassian greeted the elderly wolf at the head of the table. "Thank you for coming on such short notice." "Your Majesty," Thaddeus bowed, then turned to me. His gaze was assessing, but not unkind. "Luna Queen Isla. Congratulations on your bonding." The formal acknowledgement of my title made several council members shift uncomfortably. "Thank you, Lord Regent." We took our seats, Cassian at the head of the table and me at his right hand. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. "I've called this meeting to address the concerns I'm sure many of you have," Cassian began, "about my choice of mate and what it means for the kingdom." "With all due respect, Your Majesty," a younger council member spoke up. "Lord Brennan," I thought. "The concerns aren't just ours. Word is spreading to the other kingdoms. Many are questioning your judgment." "Let them question." Cassian's voice was steel. "My mate was chosen by the moon goddess herself. Anyone who questions that questions her will." "But tradition states..." "Tradition also once stated that Omegas couldn't own property or speak in council meetings," I interrupted quietly. All eyes turned to me. Tradition isn't law. It's just what we've always done. Maybe it's time we did things differently. Lord Thaddeus studied me with interest. "You propose changing centuries of hierarchy? I propose judging wolves by their abilities, not their designation." I met his gaze steadily. An Omega can be strong. A Beta can lead. An Alpha can show compassion. What matters is the individual, not the label we assign them. "Revolutionary thinking," Thaddeus murmured. "Dangerous thinking," Lord Brennan countered. "If we start dismantling the hierarchy..." "We start creating a stronger kingdom," Cassian finished. "One based on merit, not birthright. One where any wolf can rise to their full potential." His hand found mine under the table. My Luna Queen is living proof of that. She has gifts that transcend designation, compassion, intelligence, a ability to connect with all wolves, regardless of rank. "Pretty words," another council member, Lady Morgana, said sharply. "But how does an Omega with no political training, no diplomatic experience, no knowledge of governance possibly qualify to be Luna Queen?" It was a fair question, even if the delivery was harsh. "She learns," Cassian said simply. The same way I learned when I became king at 21 after my father's death. The same way any of us learn. By doing, by listening, by having advisors we trust to guide us. His eyes swept the table. That's what a council is for, isn't it? To advise and support their rulers. Some of us remember when councils actually had power, Lady Morgana muttered. And some of us remember when Alpha Kings made decisions in their kingdom's best interest, not the council's, Cassian shot back. The tension ratcheted up several notches. I squeezed Cassian's hand gently, feeling his frustration through our bond. May I say something? I asked quietly. All eyes turned to me again. I know I'm not what you expected in a Luna Queen. I know I don't have the training, or the bloodline, or the experience. I took a breath. But I love this kingdom. I've spent the past year serving in the palace, and I've seen every level of our society. The servants who work themselves to exhaustion, the guards who protect us, the craftsmen who build our world. I've seen struggles the nobility never notices because they don't affect your daily lives. Lady Morgana's expression shifted slightly. I don't claim to have all the answers, I continued, but I do have perspective you're lacking. And I have something else. I have your king's absolute trust, his strength, his protection. My eyes found hers. You can work with me, help me learn, guide me to be the Luna Queen this kingdom needs, or you can fight me every step of the way and weaken us from within while our enemies watch and wait. The choice hung in the air. Lord Thaddeus broke the silence. The girl has spine. And she's not wrong about perspective. When was the last time any of us actually spent time in the servants' quarters? Or the working districts? That's not our role. Maybe it should be. Thaddeus looked at Cassian. Your Majesty, I move that we formally recognize Luna Queen Isla and pledge our support to help her transition into her role. Seconded, another council member said. Lady Morgana looked like she'd bitten into something sour, but she nodded. Agreed. Though I reserve the right to say I told you so, if this ends in disaster. Fair enough. Cassian's relief flowed through our bond. Then it's settled. My maid is recognized as Luna Queen, and this council will support her education in governance and diplomacy. As the meeting continued, discussing territories and trade agreements, and a dozen other complex issues, I felt overwhelmed but not hopeless. This was my life now, my role, my responsibility. And with Cassian beside me and the bond between us strong, I could face it. Even when, halfway through the meeting, a messenger burst in with urgent news. Your Majesty, Lord Chancellor Aldrich has gathered the old council members and several noble families. They're declaring the bonding invalid and calling for your abdication. Cassian's hand tightened on mine. The real battle was just beginning. Chapter 5. The Rebellion. The former Lord Chancellor had wasted no time. By evening, nearly a third of the noble families had joined his cause. They'd barricaded themselves in the eastern estate, declaring Cassian's bonding to an Omega a violation of sacred law. It's not about you, Clara assured me as she helped me dress for the emergency session. It's about power. Aldrich lost his position, and this is how he's trying to get it back. It's absolutely about me. I stared at my reflection. Luna Queen finery felt like a costume. If Cassian had chosen any of those princesses, there'd be no rebellion. If Cassian had chosen any of those princesses, he'd be miserable. She adjusted my crown, still strange to wear. Besides, you're not giving yourself enough credit. You won over half the council this morning. Even Lady Morgana looked impressed. Lady Morgana looked constipated. Clara snorted. Same expression on her. Despite everything, I smiled. Then Cassian's presence filled the bond, urgent and commanding. Come to the throne room. Now. I arrived to find chaos. The throne room was packed with nobles, guards, servants, everyone talking over each other. Cassian stood before his throne, radiating alpha authority, but even he looked strained. His eyes found mine across the room, and relief flashed through our bond. Luna Queen Isla, he called, and the room quieted. Please, join me. I walked through the crowd, feeling every judgmental stare. When I reached him, his hand immediately found mine, the contact steadying us both. "Lord Regent," Cassian addressed Thaddeus, "what's the latest?" "Aldrich's forces have grown to 40 families, roughly 30% of the nobility. They're demanding you annul the bonding and choose a suitable mate within 30 days, or they'll secede from your kingdom and form their own." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "They can't do that." "Actually, they can," Lady Morgana interjected. "The Accords of 1702 give noble families the right to secede if they believe the crown has violated sacred law. Bonding with a fated mate isn't a violation. They're claiming the moon goddess wouldn't choose an Omega for an Alpha King," Thaddeus explained grimly. "That Isla must be a false mate, perhaps using magic or manipulation." Rage surged through our bond so powerfully I gasped. Cassian's eyes flashed pure gold. "If anyone, anywhere, suggests my mate used anything other than her natural goodness to earn my love, they'll answer to me personally." The threat hung heavy in the air. "Your Majesty," Lord Brennan spoke up carefully, "perhaps we could provide proof? A public ceremony where the moon goddess herself confirms the bonding?" "The marking is proof enough." "Markings can be faked," Lady Morgana interrupted. "Rare, but possible with certain magics." I felt sick. "I didn't fake anything. We know that." Cassian pulled me close. "But Aldrich is spreading doubt. We need to counter it definitively." "How?" I asked. Thaddeus stepped forward. "There's an ancient ritual, the moon's testimony. The bonded pair stands before the assembled kingdom under the full moon, and if their bond is true, the moon goddess herself will bless them with visible light. And if she doesn't, then the bonding is declared false and must be dissolved." My blood ran cold. "When's the next full moon?" 3 days. 3 days to prepare for a ritual that would either confirm our bond or destroy everything. Through our connection, I felt Cassian's determination. We have nothing to fear. Our bond is real, but also his worry. What if something goes wrong? "We'll do it," I said aloud, lifting my chin. "The moon's testimony. 3 days from now. Let the entire kingdom watch." Cassian's pride and love surged through the bond. "Then it's settled," Thaddeus declared. "Word will be sent to all territories. In 3 days, the moon goddess will speak." As the crowd dispersed to spread the news, Cassian pulled me into a private alcove. "You didn't have to agree to that," he said softly. "We could have fought Aldrich's rebellion without—" "No, we couldn't. Not without bloodshed." I cupped his face. "This way, the goddess herself ends the argument. No one can dispute her judgment." "And if she's silent? If for some reason the light doesn't come?" "It will." I had no idea where this certainty came from, but it filled me completely. "We're fated mates, Cassian. The moon goddess chose us. She won't abandon us now." His kiss was fierce, desperate, full of love and fear in equal measure. 3 days, he whispered against my lips. Then no one can ever question us again. I hoped he was right. But that night, alone in our chambers, I couldn't shake the feeling that Aldrich had one more trick planned. Something that would make the moon's testimony the least of our worries. Chapter 6. The Poison. The attack came 2 nights before the ritual. I was in the gardens, trying to calm my nerves with a midnight walk, when the scent hit me. Wrong, chemical, burning, poison. I turned to run, but hands grabbed me from behind. A cloth pressed over my mouth and nose, reeking of something sweet and cloying. My wolf roared, but my body went limp. The last thing I heard before darkness claimed me was Cassian's anguished howl through our bond. I woke to the smell of silver and wolfsbane. My eyes cracked open to find myself in a stone cell, wrists bound with silver chains that burned my skin. Every breath hurt, every movement agony. Awake, I see. Lord Aldrich stepped from the shadows, his expression cold. Good. I'd hate for you to miss this. Where? My voice came out as a croak. Somewhere your king will never find you in time. He crouched before me. The moon's testimony is tomorrow night, Omega, and you won't be there to complete it. Cassian will tear this kingdom apart looking for me. I'm counting on it. Aldrich's smile was cruel. By the time he finds you, the full moon will have passed. The ritual window will close. And without the goddess's blessing, your bonding will be questioned forever. You can't. I can. And I will. He stood. You were always the weak point, little Omega. Cassian's one vulnerability. Take you away, and he'll destroy himself trying to save you. Through our bond, I could feel Cassian's frantic energy. He was searching, desperate, the connection between us strained but not broken. Hold on, his voice echoed in my mind. I'm coming. Just hold on. But I could feel the distance between us. Miles, maybe more. Too far to reach by tomorrow night. He won't make it in time, Aldrich said, reading my expression. Accept it. You've lost. After he left, I tested the chains. Silver burned Omega skin worse than any other designation. A quirk of biology that made us particularly vulnerable. But I wasn't just any Omega anymore. I was Luna Queen. Cassian's mate, chosen by the moon goddess herself. And I refused to let some power-hungry noble destroy what we'd built. Closing my eyes, I reached for the bond. For Cassian's strength flowing through it. His alpha power that had become partially mine through our marking. The chains were silver, but I was bonded to the strongest alpha in the kingdom. Silver shouldn't be enough to hold me. I pulled on Cassian's power, feeling it flood through the bond. The chains heated, my skin blistering, but I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. With a crack that echoed through the cell, the chains shattered. I stood on shaking legs, burned and exhausted but free. Now I just had to escape before Aldrich realized what I'd done. The compound was some kind of abandoned fortress in the mountains. Guards patrolled the perimeter, but they weren't expecting an Omega to have broken free. I used that to my advantage. Staying low, moving quietly, I slipped past 3 different patrol routes. My wolf, usually so submissive, was fierce now. Protective of our mate, of our bond, of the future we'd claimed. I was almost to the tree line when someone shouted, "The Omega! She's escaped!" I ran. Through the forest, over rocks and roots, my bare feet bleeding, but my determination absolute. Behind me, guards gave chase, their wolves faster and stronger. But I had something they didn't. I had a mate who could feel my location through our bond. And as I burst into a clearing, the sun just starting to rise, I saw him. Cassian, in his massive wolf form, leading what looked like the entire royal guard. His blue eyes found mine, and the relief that flooded our bond nearly brought me to my knees. Then he was shifting, running to me in human form, catching me as I collapsed. "I've got you," he whispered fiercely, his hands gentle despite his rage. "You're safe. You're safe. Aldrich, the ritual. I know. We have time." His arms tightened. "We have time, Isla. The moon doesn't rise until tonight." Behind us, his guards were capturing Aldrich's men. The rebellion was over. "How did you find me?" I asked, my voice weak. "The bond. It's stronger than any poison or distance." His forehead pressed to mine. "You're my mate. I'll always find you." As the sun rose fully, I saw Aldrich being dragged before us, defeated. "You've committed treason," Cassian said coldly, "kidnapping the Luna Queen, attempting to sabotage a sacred ritual, rebellion against your rightful king. She's not Luna Queen. She is." Cassian's alpha command was absolute, and tonight, the moon goddess will prove it to everyone. Aldrich's expression crumbled as he realized he'd lost. "Guards," Cassian ordered, "take him to the cells to await trial. Treason carries a death sentence." As they dragged the former Lord Chancellor away, Cassian turned his full attention to me. "Can you stand?" "With help." He lifted me effortlessly, cradling me against his chest. The royal healers will tend your burns. We'll get you fed, rested. Cassian. I cupped his face, feeling the tremor in his hands. I'm okay. We're okay. You could have died. His voice cracked. If you hadn't broken free, if I hadn't found you in time. But you did, because we're bonded, because the moon goddess chose us. I kissed him softly. Have faith. His answering kiss was desperate, claiming, full of residual fear and overwhelming relief. Tonight, he promised against my lips. Tonight we prove to everyone that nothing can break what we have. I believed him. And as the full moon rose that evening, the entire kingdom gathered to watch. I stood beside my king and faced our destiny together. Chapter 7. The Moon's Testimony. The ritual ground was ancient, a circle of standing stones on the highest peak, open to the sky. Every wolf in the kingdom who could make the journey had come, packing the mountainside with thousands of witnesses. I stood in the center of the circle, Cassian beside me, both of us dressed in ceremonial white. My burns from the silver chains were bandaged, but hidden beneath the flowing fabric. High Priestess Alara, the oldest wolf in the kingdom, approached with the ritual bowl. Alpha King Cassian Blackthorn, her voice carried across the silent crowd. Do you claim this woman as your fated mate, chosen by the moon goddess herself? I do. His voice was steady, sure. Luna Queen Isla Thorn, she turned to me. Do you claim this man as your fated mate, chosen by the moon goddess herself? I do. Then drink. She offered the bowl, filled with water, blessed under 100 full moons. We drank together, the liquid tasting of moonlight and starlight and magic. Now, the priestess said, the testimony. The moonlight intensified, focusing on us like a spotlight. Silver light poured down, wrapping around our joined hands, spreading across our bodies. Where it touched, it left glowing marks. Intricate patterns that traced the mate bond connecting us. They spiraled up our arms, across our chests, over our hearts. Beautiful, undeniable, sacred. The crowd gasped. The moon goddess has spoken, the priestess declared, her voice awed. The bond is true. All hail Alpha King Cassian and Luna Queen Isla, blessed by the goddess herself. All hail, the crowd echoed, thousands of voices raised in acceptance. But the moonlight wasn't done. It pulsed once, twice, then expanded outward from us in a wave of silver energy. Every wolf it touched felt it, the absolute certainty of our bond, the undeniable truth of the goddess's choice. When it faded, the glowing marks on our skin remained, permanent proof that we were fated mates. Cassian pulled me into his arms, and the crowd erupted in cheers. We did it, I breathed against his chest. You did it. He pulled back to look at me, his eyes wet. You were so brave, breaking free from Aldrich, surviving the silver, trusting the goddess even when everything was against us. I had faith in us. So did I. His kiss was gentle, reverent. My Omega, my mate, my queen. The titles that had once seemed impossible now felt right. As the celebration began around us, nobles who'd questioned our bond now approached to offer congratulations and pledges of loyalty. Even Lady Morgana looked grudgingly impressed. Well, she said curtly, I suppose the goddess knows what she's doing after all. Most of the time, I agreed, which earned a surprised laugh from her. Lord Thaddeus bowed deeply. Luna Queen Isla, you've proven yourself worthy 100 times over. This kingdom is blessed to have you. The acceptance washed over me like a warm wave. Later, as the moon reached its zenith, Cassian and I stood at the edge of the ritual ground, looking out over our kingdom. What are you thinking? He asked softly. That a year ago I was an Omega maid who thought she'd spend her life in service. I leaned into his warmth. Now I'm Luna Queen, bonded to the love of my life, with an entire kingdom to help guide and protect. Regrets? Not even one. I turned to face him. You. My only regret is that I didn't claim you the moment I saw you. His hand slid into my hair. I wasted months we could have spent together. We have forever now. Forever, he agreed. And I plan to spend every moment of it showing you exactly how much you mean to me. His kiss was a promise, a claim, a benediction. When we finally pulled apart, he rested his forehead against mine. Thank you, he whispered, for being brave enough to let me love you, for being strong enough to become my queen, for being you. Thank you for choosing me, for seeing past what I was supposed to be and loving who I actually am. Always. His arms tightened. You're mine, Isla. My mate, my queen, my everything. Yours, I agreed. And you're mine. The moon blessed us with light as we stood together, two wolves who defied tradition and hierarchy and every expectation to find each other, an alpha king and his omega queen, exactly as the moon goddess had always intended. Epilogue. 2 years later, she has your eyes. I looked down at the tiny bundle in my arms, our daughter, barely a week old, with Cassian's bright blue eyes and a shock of dark hair. And your stubbornness, Cassian added, sitting beside me on the bed. She refused to sleep all night unless I was holding her. She knows her father's the strongest wolf in the kingdom. Smart girl. He laughed, the sound warm and happy. So different from the stressed, lonely king I'd met 3 years ago. Our daughter, Princess Aurora, named for the dawn, yawned widely and settled into sleep. Clara's outside with a gift, Cassian said softly. Should I let her in? Please. Clara entered, her own mate, Marcus, Cassian's beta, beside her. She carried a beautifully wrapped package. For the princess, she said, setting it on the table. Though really, it's for her mother, a reminder. I opened it to find my old maid's dress, carefully preserved and framed. Clara? You came from there, she said, gesturing to the simple dress. And now you're here, Luna Queen, mother to the future ruler of our kingdom. Never forget how far you've come. Tears pricked my eyes. Thank you, she countered, for showing every Omega in this kingdom that we're more than our designation. Applications to the new Omega Leadership Program have tripled this year. That program was my pride and joy, creating opportunities for Omegas to enter fields previously closed to them. Politics, military, business, education. The hierarchy was changing, slowly but surely. After they left, I settled Aurora in her crib, watching her sleep peacefully. What are you thinking? Cassian asked, wrapping his arms around me from behind. That 3 years ago, I never could have imagined this life. Regrets? I turned in his arms, feeling our bond pulse with contentment and love. Not even one. His kiss was soft, perfect. I love you, my Omega Queen. I love you, my Alpha King. Outside, the kingdom we'd fought so hard to change together thrived. Inside, our daughter slept peacefully, living proof that love could transcend any barrier. And between us, the mate bond glowed eternal. A gift from the moon goddess to two wolves brave enough to choose each other. An Alpha King who'd defied every expectation. And the Omega maid he'd chosen over all the princesses in the realm. Our fairy tale. Our truth. Our happily ever after. Luna's closing, and that, my beautiful dreamers, is the story of Cassian and Isla, an Alpha King who found his true queen in the most unexpected place. Did this story touch your heart? Did you feel the magic of their bond? Then show me some love. Hit that like button, drop a comment telling me your favorite moment, and subscribe to Luna's romance audiobooks so you never miss a tale of true love. I want to know, would you have had the courage to mark the king in front of the entire court? Would you have broken free from those silver chains? Tell me in the comments. And speaking of courage, our next story is going to test every boundary you thought you knew. It's called His Forbidden Omega, and it follows a she-wolf who discovers she's mated to her pack's greatest enemy, the rogue Alpha who killed her father. Love, hate, revenge, and a bond that refuses to be denied. Trust me, dreamers, you won't want to miss it. Until next time, may your choices be brave, your bonds be true, and your love stories be written in the stars. This is Luna, signing off. Sweet dreams, beautiful souls.